So you're a medical marijuana patient. You need a caregiver, or you need some assistance. Let me tell you who your answer is. It's the Ant Farm. They're mobile. They come out and help you. It's Metro Detroit's #1 mobile service for medical patients. They're safe, discreet, and convenient. It's the Ant Farm. Call them today, 888-369-3320, or check them out at antfarmcc.org. That's antfarmcc.org. It's the Ant Farm, 10 to 10 daily. Call for details, 888-369-3320. The law offices of Targowski and Grow remind you to stand up for your rights. Always treat law enforcement with respect, but if you're detained or arrested, stand up for your rights by repeating, I respectfully invoke all of my legal and constitutional rights. I do not consent to any search or seizure. I want to remain silent, and I want to talk to my attorneys, John Targowski and Daniel Grow. Targowski and Grow have the education and experience you need to be successful in Michigan courts. Call Targowski and Grow toll-free, 800-957-1069. The law offices of Targowski and Grow, 800-957-1069.
This is the Political Twist-Up Show. PoliticalTwistUp.com if you didn't know. It'll put you in the zone. Dealing with real issues, real relevant on the real radio. You're cooling out with the Political Twist-Up Show.
Let's ride.
Let me just tell you, we are live in the Detroit area. Welcome to the Political Twist-Up Show. It's Steve Green, Ryan Bringold, and co-host Rick Thompson.
Hello, everybody.
We're in the Brian Daly Law Studio offices. I just really can't get over this place.
A fantastic facility. It's very nice.
We moved out of 1310's studios over at Clear Channel in Detroit over to this beautiful facility. And I just got to point out the crazy signage behind us. I love the new banner, the logo. We got the bannering on. Look at that on the video.
Sure.
That's pretty cool stuff. We're streaming on politicaltwistup.com. If you didn't get a chance to check out that website, I would encourage you to do so because we'll be talking about some stuff that's up on the web today. Managed to put some of the stuff up this morning. On today's program, wanted to talk about these crazies at liberallogic101.com. I managed to get in a fight with another radio guy out in the West Coast this week on Facebook.
Steve, you're so mild-mannered. How could that happen?
Come on. I put up the dukes when people start to punch.
East Coast, West Coast.
You know, I just...
The Tupac Biggie thing? Is that what you're going with? You're going with the Tupac Biggie thing?
Yeah.
All right.
I thought that was over a long time ago.
Bloods and Crips. Bloods and Crips.
I've always been a guy that sticks up for the little guy. Somebody who sees the little guy as being pushed around by the big guy, and I'm always sticking up for that person, whoever that little guy is. And many times I am the little guy, so perhaps that's why. But I can empathize with those people. And, you know, these guys were doing something that really started. I did some research and found out where the post that this individual on the West Coast had posted on his Facebook page. And I was right away offended by it. And that was his goal. I mean, some of these guys that are on the radio, their goal is to offend you. And
shock jocks, but using the internet for their value as opposed to radio.
I have no problem with being offended. People offend me all the time. I got a thick skin. That wasn't my problem. My problem is when you take what you want to label as free speech, what is really now hate speech, because you've ramped it up to such a degree that it's no longer just offensive, it's just outright hateful. And then you start mixing that with a message that's untrue and feeding it to the population as if it were true. And that's what I had a problem with. And I asked him to take the post down, and this related to Tebow. Tebow's the football player.
But Tim Tebow is a quarterback that plays in the National Football League. Correct.
And he was famous for his little celebration, his little prayer stance celebration that he did a couple of years ago. And the message that these crazies at Liberal Logic 101, this is a highly conservative group, and I would say, you know, beyond conservative, kind of just out there nutso. But the image had a picture of Tim Tebow, and on one side it said, next to Tim Tebow's picture, it said, bashed for professing his Christianity. And on the other side, it had a picture of Collins, the NBA player, who came out as a gay man.
Yes.
The first in the professional sports world to do so, and that's why he was notable for that. But it said celebrated for professing his homosexuality. And so it was just offensive right off the bat that they were saying things that first off weren't true, because I don't believe Tim Tebow was really ever bashed for professing his Christianity.
He was celebrated also, the way I remember.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I believe that people copying his little celebration all over the world was exactly the opposite of that. Wasn't it kind of backing him in some way?
That certainly was a tribute, not a criticism. Yes.
And I don't also think that Collins, that guy Collins, was celebrated for his gayness. I think he was celebrating for having the kahunas to be the first to stand up and say we're here and understand that, and I don't have a problem with that. Neither should you.
And he certainly took a lot of heat from that too, because there are anti-gay people out there that really beat him up.
Well, let's face it. This is a sports organization. It's sexual orientation is not. It matters not, and that's ultimately the point. But when you start saying that he was celebrated for being a gay man in the NBA, I just think that's the wrong idea. And these people are famous for putting these on. So we want to talk about that a little bit later on in the show. Some of the imagery that these people profess and some of the kind of twisted ideals that they try to sell as the truth. I wanted to talk about that a little bit later.
What else is going on the show today?
Oh, we got Jack Hoffman coming on from Decriminalized Grand Rapids. Remember, we had him on a couple weeks ago.
They've had a victory. He wants to talk about. That's fantastic.
Nice.
That's coming up yet in the program.
Yep.
And then also...
There's Jack.
No, that's not Jack, I don't think, on the screen. That's actually LJ. Yeah, on the screen.
All right. I was going to say, he looks a lot younger than I thought.
Jack Hoffman's from Decrim Grand Rapids. He'll be on the phone. LJ is a guy we'll have on at the end of the program. LJ's with Advanced Nutrients, and he's an expert gardener, and so we'll be talking to him about gardening questions. So get your gardening questions ready. If you want to get on the phone today and be a part of our program, a part of our conversation, we have a special Cedar Point announcement to make.
LJ will be participating via Skype from California, too, so it's an extra special thing for us to do.
Right. So 810-423-2350 is the number to call. You know what? I didn't forward the number yet, so I've got to do that during the commercial break.
Special Cedar Point, did I hear that?
Yes.
Cedar Point announcement coming up.
We have a special guest. They'll be calling in from Cedar Point also, too.
Yes, we'll be talking to somebody from Cedar Point about the brand new ride out there, the Gatekeeper.
You can talk to me about that. I was on it.
I don't have to talk to you about it. I was on it too.
Cedar Point has a media day each year, and the Political Twist-Up Show was invited to Cedar Point to participate this year, and a couple of us were able to go down there and enjoy the ride. Not me, but these other guys did.
You were missed.
I'm waiting to see the video of their faces. They were like, ah!
Well, if you want to see it, it's right here.
Is it on politicaltwistup.com?
It's on politicaltwistup.com right there. It's,
nice.
That is nice.
Playing it. You can't hear it, but I'm playing it on our monitor here.
Yeah, but certainly to view that, go to politicaltwistup.com, and you can view that. Plus, you can also view some of the images that Steve was referencing regarding liberallogic101.com as well. But Jack Hoffman with the Decriminalized Grand Rapids is on the phone right now.
Yes, he is. Welcome to the program, Jack.
Steve?
Now, you had some significant progress out since we last visited. Can we recap really quickly where we were at when you were on the program last? We were at a situation, if I'm not mistaken, where you guys were preparing for a long, entrenched legal battle with regards to initiating the ordinance as it was redrafted. The Charter Amendment as it was redrafted by the voters last fall.
Yeah, March 15, the city attorney came out with her surprise motion to... have the judge rule that the city police officers had a duty to report state marijuana violations to the prosecutor, which would have made the Charter Amendment ineffective. So that was, and then she was, asked the judge if he wasn't going to grant her motion right away for leave to sue Decriminalized GR. So that was a big surprise turnaround, stab in the back, but. It all turned out. We had our hearing on the 26th. The judge, he beat up the prosecutor pretty good. He said, look, the statute doesn't say what you want it to say. It just doesn't. So this is a charter amendment, not an ordinance. And then the city attorney got up. She didn't even, she said, I'll rest on my briefs. She didn't even... Wow. Have the stomach to argue her case.
No rebuttal at all? Or
no, just And she said, "Do you have any questions?" And the judge said, "I do have some questions." And he said, "Look, it's the city attorney's, it's the city manager's job to set the rules for the police regulations, and you've set all these, rules 1 through 12 before me, and you want me to go through each one, check them off. Is this one right? Is this one wrong? Can this one be tweaked?" He said, "That's not my job." He said, "That's the city manager's job. So I'm not going to do that." So, her whole thing about getting the judge to make these binding rulings that would have gutted the charter amendment, he just shut that right down. And and then you know what he said? He said, so it was kind of, and then I got up and gave our arguments, and he said, "Well, I think I know what I'm going to rule." This was on the 26th. But it's a complicated case, and, there's some, I don't want to make it off the cuff, so I'm going to issue a written opinion. He said, but then he said one more thing. He said to the city attorney, he said, when we were in here in January arguing about, am I using up too much time here?
Well, we're starting to get ready to go to break, so I'm going to have to put you on hold for a second,
Okay.
But I get where you're going. Hold the thought, and we'll come back, and we'll find out what happened after this meeting. And we've got some questions about how to participate in the DCRIM initiative there and how to support them further. Find out more. It's the Political Twist-Up Show on the Multimedia Digital Network. The Political Twist-Up Show.
Well, this formula is specifically to grow cannabis.
That's Ray Kogo for Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients.
Now, everybody knows that large buds and tight buds come from genetics, and then the amount of light you use. The other part is having the correct nutrients that the plant's going to use. Mine specifically to grow cannabis, so it's going to get everything that it needs.
Ray knows what you may not. Those nutrient companies you can get in most grow shops are not cannabis specific. That means they take the stuff out of the bloom that your plant needs in bloom. You can get Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients too. It's just 2 1-gallon jugs that make over 600 gallons of nutrients, all for less than $100. See the difference for yourself.
More trichomes, bigger buds, faster growth, and for less money.
Go to CANNABISformula.com or call Ray direct at 517-375-8998. That's 517-375-8998. Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients. Get everything you need at Hydrovision Indoor Gardening Centers. It's spring, and it's time you get to planting. And whether you're starting plants indoors for the outdoor season or just making your house more green, the technical experts at Hydrovision stores will help you with indoor design and supply so that your indoor gardening dreams always become reality. Mention my name, Steve Green, for a special discount. Hydrovision Indoor Gardening Centers in Howell, Trenton, Richmond, Benton, and Belleville, one near you, or check out myhydrovision.com. The law offices of Targowski and Grow remind you to stand up for your rights. Always treat law enforcement with respect, but if you're detained or arrested, stand up for your rights by repeating, "I respectfully invoke all of my legal and constitutional rights. I do not consent to any search or seizure. I want to remain silent, and I want to talk to my attorneys, John Targowski and Daniel Grow." Targowski and Grow have the education and experience you need to be successful in Michigan courts. Call Targowski and Grow toll-free, 800-957-1069. The law offices of Targowski and Grow, 800-957-1069. So you're a medical marijuana patient. You need a caregiver, or you need some assistance. Let me tell you who your answer is. It's the Ant Farm. They're mobile. They come out and help you. It's Metro Detroit's #1 mobile service for medical patients. They're safe, discreet, and convenient. It's the Ant Farm. Call them today, 888-369-3320, or check them out at antfarmcc.org. That's antfarmcc.org. It's the Ant Farm, 10 to 10 daily. Call for details, 888-369-3320.
If you or someone you know received a traffic ticket, has been charged with a misdemeanor, drinking and driving, criminal offense, or has had their driver's license taken away, they need an attorney. They need attorney Glenn McCandless. He's helped hundreds of people solve their legal problems over the past 16 years.
My law firm is dedicated to providing quality legal services at affordable rates.
Call us at 586-755-2900. Again, that's 586-755-2900. Call now.
At Clio Cultivation, the things that really matter are the best customer service, lowest prices, and a friendlier atmosphere. We share knowledge that will increase your harvest and happiness. Recently, a grower reported double yields in 8 weeks by following our methods of the Garden Sage. We also guarantee the lowest prices on every product every day. When you are here, just smile. Bad days don't exist anymore. Now offering complete 1,000-watt systems for $179, 8-light T5s $189, 16-inch wall mount fans $33.95, Exhale CO2 bags $28, 8-inch Raptors $199, 1,000-watt ballast $89.95, 1,000-watt lamps start at $50, and Happy Frog and Ocean Forest lower than $13.95. Call for details at 810-686-GROW or visit 11394 North Saginaw Road. Weekdays 10 to 7, Saturday 10 to 5. At Clio Cultivation, we know to see it is to believe it.
The Political Twist Up Radio Show.
We come to you live every Saturday from 3 until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Currently on Flint at WFNT and in Grand Rapids, WTKG. So we thank you for joining us today. With us on the program, Jack Hoffman from Decriminalize Grand Rapids. Welcome back to the program, Jack. You were saying about, you were wrapping up about where this ended up with the judge.
Oh, yeah, at the hearing on the 26th. So he said, last time you were in here on the motion for to deny the prosecutor's motion for preliminary injunction in January, you told me that I should lift the temporary restraining order because you needed experience in, applying the police rules for implementing the ordinance. He said, I thought that made sense. Well, then I lift the restraining order and I read in the paper the city manager is not going to implement the charter amendment until I make a decision. He said, look, I'm going to write my opinion, but that is, I'm not stopping the city manager from implementing the charter amendment. I lifted that restraining order 3 months ago, and basically told her, don't wait for me to issue my opinion to implement the amendment. So they went ahead and implemented it on May 1st, Wednesday, May 1st, as said they would do. And I gave them their props for that. I said, that's great. And then, and then on Monday, then he came out with his opinion, dismissed the prosecutor's case, said the the civil infraction was within the power of the people to pass that, and he said it was also within their power to prohibit their police officers, instruct their own police officers, who are, after all, their employees, to not report marijuana violations to the prosecutor. So, we went on, and then he denied the city's motions. He said, there's no case of controversy. There's nothing for me to decide here. Just go ahead and implement the charter amendment. So we beat the prosecutor and the city. So it was a good day for DCGR.
And a good day for the citizens of Grand Rapids.
Yeah,
whose vote was honored.
The voters actually count.
I think we won that by. The judge said that too. He said, I was in politics before I became a judge. 60% was a landslide.
Right. That's right. Yes, it is.
That's what he said. He said, and he was careful to say, look, I'm not saying whether this is a good idea or a bad idea, but this is what the people voted for. Right. So, it was a good result, and now we got the civil infraction thing going. So, it was a good couple of weeks for the people.
Nice. Now, what does this mean? What does this mean for the people? This means that the city charter is being enacted now, the way that it was modified, and it also means what? Is there any other looming legal battle? It seemed to me when I read
the prosecutor's going to appeal. Okay.
Well, and let me just ask you this. I noticed when I read the opinion that he really walked him through the doorway of how he might be able to fight this further.
Oh, the judge's opinion, you think?
Yes.
How was that?
Well, didn't he talk about how if you had done it in this way, and if you attacked it from this angle, I mean, he did the kind of thing. He basically told the prosecutor how to plead is what he did. He told the prosecutor how to plead.
No, I didn't read it that way, and so I'm not sure what part of the decision you're talking about.
Well, then I'll let that rest where it is. But go ahead and if you can answer that question.
Well, the prosecutor is going to last time I talked to him, he's going to appeal. I hope after they're reading the judge's opinion, they don't. But anyway, we got to raise some money that's going to cost $30,000 in my time. So we're trying to raise some money to pay to combat the prosecutor's appeal. Now, the city attorney had threatened to sue DCGR. That's true, but given the judge's opinion, I told the judge just dismiss her motion because she's never pled a claim. Right. She hasn't properly gone through the proper, legal way of raising a claim. But he didn't do that. He went the next step and he said, basically, even if you had pled this claim, I would dismiss your case, and so basically don't sue DCGR because I'll dismiss your case just like I'm dismissing the prosecutor's case. I'm paraphrasing.
Right, it's kind of a hint. It was a between the lines thing.
Told her, so I doubt she's going to appeal now. I don't know. Sometimes I cannot predict, obviously, everything she's going to do.
If people want to
surprised me before, but I think it would be a kamikaze mission.
Now, if people want to contribute to Decriminalize Grand Rapids, or if they want to find out more about the organization, what's the best way for them to learn more or to contact you?
We've got a website. Google Decriminalize GR, and you'll get our website, and you can ask some questions. And Tyler Nickerson is our go-to person for contacts. So get on the website and send a message to Tyler, and he can let you know how to help.
Well, we certainly do want to help the people out there who worked so hard on that campaign to get it done, and in an overwhelming fashion to let it.
Well, it was a team effort. We had a great ground game, getting the petitions, and then getting out the vote, and then we had some great media people working with us all through. So it was a real grassroots, definition of grassroots efforts. So
Mr. Jack Hoffman
from right? Democracy.
Mr. Jack Hoffman from Decriminalize Grand Rapids, we will be talking to you again soon in the future. We will not stop following this until it's pinned down to where it needs to be.
Sounds good, Steve.
Thanks you so much, sir, for joining the program.
Have a great day.
You too, man.
Take care.
About 22 minutes after 3 o'clock, and we move on to our announcement with Cedar Point. Today is the grand opening of Cedar Point for 2013.
What a great park.
It is cool.
And this year, their big attraction out there is a huge modification to the park. The entire front entrance of the park has been redone. And with us on the phone to explain what that process was and where it's taken us to and what that means to you this summer is Annie Zelm from Cedar Point. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Steve. Thanks for having us again.
Oh, we're so happy to have you on. So the Gatekeeper is the new ride this year.
Yes, there's just so much excitement right now. All the thrills really do start right at the gate, right when all of our guests walk through our main entrance, because the roller coaster's flying right over it. So it just does not get any better than this. When we opened today, we had a huge crowd in spite of the fact that it was pretty chilly for an early May day. It's about 40-something degrees right now, and people are still lining up. There was quite a line this morning to get on Gatekeeper. So people are just abuzz, and there's excitement in the air.
Well, I tell you what, that ride, when you look at it from the outside, I thought, because we just did the Top Thrill Dragster again last year, and that ride's got some oomph to it, and it's also from a ways away, it's rather impressive. Just its near height.
You can see it from Route 2.
But when I came to this ride, I thought, okay, this is a great modification to the park. It looks like a great fun ride. But I'll tell you what, when I got on the ride this past Thursday, it impressed me beyond what I was expecting from a visual standpoint.
What did you think? What did it feel like to you when you rode it on Thursday?
It felt like you were riding through air. I mean,
I felt like a football being thrown through the sky. It was amazing.
I think the thing that impressed me the most was the amount of force that was still on you at those speeds and at those heights. There was still tremendous thrill with this ride. It certainly proved in my head to be a world-class ride.
I would absolutely agree with you there. And, I think this has been the most talked about roller coaster of the decade. Certainly something that Cedar Point has never had. We've never had anything like Gatekeeper. And so people have been waiting since August when we first announced that this would be coming to the park. It has forever changed the landscape of Cedar Point, and it's now here. It's been running all day, so people can finally ride it. I do have to say there's quite a debate going as to which side is better, the left or the right. And I've only been on the left, so I can speak for that. But the front left seat is absolutely phenomenal. You get a beautiful view of the Cedar Point beach. You see out into Lake Erie. You could practically see Canada when you're up there cresting that 170-foot lift hill.
Wow.
So that's my pick for now, but I still have to try the right seat.
If you want to, if you're watching the show online or if you're listening at our terrestrial radio stations, go to politicaltwistup.com. Right at the very top, you'll see the footage of Ryan, our show producer, and myself on the Gatekeeper, scared. Well, we weren't really scared, but we had an awful lot of fun.
All you see is teeth, so we're either hungry or happy.
Boy, it sure sounds like something that people that may not have been to the park for a couple of years should definitely make a trip out for this year.
Well, and you get a sense of scale. You can see Lake Erie beneath you. You can see the rest of the park beneath you when you're up on that first crest, and then you can see the excitement as we're going around the bend.
Well, just even being there is in the walk-in gate, you roll right over through the walk-in gate. So when people are walking in, they're watching you ride. It's amazing. I have to say, you guys did a beautiful job of revamping the entrance to that park. It is excellent.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, I can think of no better way to start the season. It's just fantastic. Everyone's excited. They're all here. Again, it's finally the big day. And you can enjoy it all season long. So we'll be here every day. We're open daily through Labor Day. If you want more, find it out at cedarpoint.com and come check us out.
All right. We're planning on taking some people from the show on a bus this year. 54 people we got. We got a bus reserved for June 22. So we're trying
Perfect.
We'll be sending you some stuff, and we'll get ready to try and do a show from the grounds if that works out for you guys.
Absolutely. We'd love to have you back.
I hope people that are watching on the video realize that neither of the two people in that picture are Annie Zelm. Annie, and you are not Steve, and you are not Ryan, Annie. Just
our fantastic studio director, Dave Scott, has got the image of us on video. So the people watching online, they're watching the video of us right now. So thanks, Dave, for putting that up, because
that's wonderful.
It just proves again that Cedar Point's a world-class park. There's nothing like this anywhere else.
And you guys changed. I got out there one of the notable things.
Oh, no.
Pepsi versus Coke controversy. You guys switched to Coke this year, didn't you? Yes.
We did. And if you are a big fan of Coke, one thing that you'll really appreciate are those new freestyle machines where you can choose from all kinds of different combinations of drinks.
The flavors.
You can, if you want a raspberry Sprite or a vanilla root beer, you can just mix and match and try it all here.
Those are very cool. Once again, very good idea.
Cedar Point just has so many different things to interest you beyond coasters. If you're not a coaster enthusiast, it certainly sounds like with the revamp of the park that there's lots of reasons for people that may not want to take advantage of the coaster to still come down this year.
Annie, you were talking just long enough for me to take a sip from my Mountain Dew. Sorry.
Oh, no. The controversy exists. Yes.
As long as you bring in Mellow Yellow, he'll be fine.
I think it was a subtle whine, actually.
I have no problem with having a Coke and a smile. Come on.
That was a complaint, yes.
There you go.
So there you go. Cedar Point open daily now. What are the hours now currently?
Annie?
The hours currently, Annie?
Oh, still here. I'm sorry.
What are the hours of operation for the park?
We're here. We're generally open at 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. We're open a little later on Saturdays.
Terrific. And cedarpoint.com for tickets, yes?
Yes, that's the one.
We're looking to see you on June 22. Get ready, because we're coming.
All right. You better
you.
hide that Mountain Dew first, though.
Yeah, look,
We'll put a Coke wrapper on it.
I'll have a giant Coca-Cola tugging it around with me in the park. One of those super refills.
Perfect.
What a great call.
Thanks, Annie
Thank
Zell
you.
from Cedar Point out there with the Gatekeeper and the brand new ride. I can tell you, it just kind of whet my appetite for Cedar Point going out there to ride that ride.
Well, it was such a beautiful day. It was almost 80 degrees when we were there. It was so nice. I didn't want to leave, but we had to go home.
She mentions they're being open till 10 p.m. Boy, the cool breeze coming off of the water surrounding the park and the late evening hours in the summer, that just sounds great.
It was so much fun. So coming up a little bit later on in the program, we still got who do we got here? We got, I wanted to talk about this thing with...
we're going to talk about the Committee for Safer Lansing.
Why don't we do that now? We got a
Ryan
couple of minutes
Basar?
now with talking about the Lansing issue.
Sure. Well, Committee for a Safer Lansing, it's a petition drive to put in front of Lansing voters the issue of decriminalizing marijuana possession for adults within the city limits. They have announced the launch of the petition drive. Petitions are printed and signatures are being collected. They're going to have a benefit drive, a benefit fundraiser on in May 22nd at the Avenue Cafe, which used to be called the Gone Wired, very famous.
Oh, really?
within
It's
our
the Avenue
community.
now. It used to be Gone Wired?
Yep. It's been renamed and it's restyled. It's very nice in there too. A bonus for anyone that wants to show up for the Committee for a Safer Lansing event. Bob Baldorian, members of the Woolies, will be playing there for free, which is a fantastic opportunity for us. Baldorian's an attorney, but also world-class pianist, and he's a harmonica player, and he surrounds himself with wonderful musicians, so it'll be a great time, too.
Good with the Ivories, huh?
He sure is. But beyond that, Ryan Basar, who is not only a personal friend of mine, but someone that I've known for a long time, is unfortunately about to go through a stretch in federal prison for cultivating cannabis within the boundaries of the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act.
They hamstringed him, the feds hamstringed him on tying grows together, trying to tie grows together in some way. Yes?
What they did is they convicted 7 people for conspiracy to operate, and basically they were different people that had different grow operations that were all supplying dispensaries, which at that time were advised that it was legal to do by attorneys. They had consulted with police agencies and also local officials. So they believed in their heart of hearts that everything was going right, and they're being punished federally anyway. And a tribute to Ryan will be had on the 22nd as well, that same evening at the Avenue Cafe.
Okay, we'll talk a little bit more about Lansing, and then coming up, LJ. Get your questions ready, 810-423-2350. It's the Political Twist-Up Show on the Multimedia Digital Network. The Political Twist-Up Show. Get everything you need at Hydrovision Indoor Gardening Centers. It's spring, and it's time you get to planting. And whether you're starting plants indoors for the outdoor season or just making your house more green, the technical experts at Hydrovision stores will help you with indoor design and supply so that your indoor gardening dreams always become reality. Mention my name, Steve Green, for a special discount. Hydrovision Indoor Gardening Centers in Howell, Trenton, Richmond, Benton, and Belleville, one near you, or check out myhydrovision.com.
Well, this formula is specifically to grow cannabis.
That's Ray Kogo for Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients.
Now, everybody knows that large buds and tight buds come from genetics, and then the amount of light you use. The other part is having the correct nutrients that the plant's going to use. Mine specifically to grow cannabis, so it's going to get everything that it needs.
Ray knows what you may not. Those nutrient companies you can get in most grow shops are not cannabis specific. That means they take the stuff out of the bloom that your plant needs in bloom. You can get Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients too. It's just 2 1-gallon jugs that make over 600 gallons of nutrients, all for less than $100. See the difference for yourself.
More trichomes, bigger buds, faster growth, and for less money.
Go to CANNABISformula.com or call Ray direct at 517-375-8998. That's 517-375-8998. Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients.
At Clio Cultivation, the things that really matter are the best customer service, lowest prices, and a friendlier atmosphere. We share knowledge that will increase your harvest and happiness. Recently, a grower reported double yields in 8 weeks by following our methods of the Garden Sage. We also guarantee the lowest prices on every product every day. When you are here, just smile. Bad days don't exist anymore. Now offering complete 1,000-watt systems for $179, 8-light T5s $189, 16-inch wall mount fans $33.95, Exhale CO2 bags $28, 8-inch Raptors $199, 1,000-watt ballast $89.95, 1,000-watt lamps start at $50, and Happy Frog and Ocean Forest lower than $13.95. Call for details at 810-686-GROW or visit 11394 North Saginaw Road. Weekdays 10 to 7, Saturday 10 to 5. At Clio Cultivation, we know to see it is to believe it.
Are you a business that Michigan medical marijuana patients would be interested in? Here's an opportunity to list in the Michigan Medical Marijuana Business Directory for free. People from all over Michigan come to the Michigan Medical Marijuana Business Directory to find goods and services at local establishments. List yours for free by going to mmma.biz and click on Add Business. You can even choose to add features to your listing that add additional benefits. Grow your business. List it for free at mmma.biz. That's mmma.biz.
The Political Twist Up radio show. So you can hear us here every weekday. No, not. It's not on the weekdays. I'm really just kidding. It's just every Saturday from 3 until 4. That's all we got. Is that one little hour.
You could watch the podcast once a day, every day, and make it a weekly broadcast.
3 to 4 on Saturdays. PoliticalTwistUp.com is the place you go. It is the Political Twist Up Show. I'm Steve Green. We still have Ryan and Rick in the studio. And we are talking about the Lansing thing. Lansing's got an initiative going on. They're trying to reorganize the city charter much in the same way that Grand Rapids did. Isn't that correct, Rick?
Exactly right. They're going to follow the same pattern that's been successfully used in other cities across the state. Remember that in November of 2012, all 5 city initiatives passed overwhelmingly in Michigan to authorize relaxed marijuana laws. The city of Jackson, the city of Ferndale, and the city of Lansing are the 3 in Michigan for 2013 that have announced those petition procedures.
Don't forget, if you want to organize your questions for our Ask the Gardener segment coming up in moments, give us a call now, and that would be the good time. Bring your gardener questions to the phone at 810-423-2350. LJ, our expert gardener from Advanced Nutrients, is going to be on Skype via California, or from California via Skype, I guess would be a better way to say it, in moments. So stand by for that. Now, I wanted to talk about this.
Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I was talking with Rick before we set up the show, and there was an announcement by Bill Schuette, or a write-up on, having rights with your children and using medical marijuana.
Attorney General's Opinion 7271.
So, I just thought that maybe Rick could kind of cover how that plays out, and we could maybe jump into it more next week.
Well, and certainly we'll jump into it more next week because it's an extensive document, and it requires some pretty good evaluation. So we don't want to jump the gun on some of the analysis, but it doesn't necessarily look so great. It looks like Bill Schuette is establishing that secondhand smoke could cause a danger to children, and therefore be a reason why Child Protective Services would be able to invalidate your Section 4A and Section 4B rights as patients. There are several different.
Wanted to point out to Dave, we got some calls coming in on the LJ thing. Can we take those calls, please? There we go. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Rick.
That's okay. And the Attorney General's opinions have, generally speaking, been very harsh, not necessarily reflective of what the courts have said, and oftentimes just been proven to be flat out incorrect by Court of Appeals or by Supreme Court decisions in the past.
So let me get this straight. My understanding is under the current Medical Marijuana Act, that has already been addressed, yes or no?
When you say that, I don't know what you mean.
Having children and having the right to use medical marijuana and being a parent, it should not affect your.
I don't believe the Act itself addressed it at all.
It hasn't addressed it at all.
No, what it says is that you're allowed to use marijuana as long as it doesn't present a threat to children, and it cannot be used against you, and their status as a patient cannot be used against you in a Child Protective Services situation.
But also, doesn't it say something about no privilege or right should be infringed in any way?
In fact, Bill Schuette cited that in his opinion, and then went right ahead and said, "What, except for the circumstance I'm about to describe," and then he described circumstances where they could. For example, if a judge exactly.
So he just basically carved it out from thin air, just carved it out right there.
You have rights, but we're going to take them away unless you fit this very thin description of exactly what we want a medical marijuana patient to be. And if you violate that even in the slightest, then that could be grounds to invalidate your rights as a patient to invoke your protections in a court.
Well, I definitely want to talk about this more next week because I'm a single parent with a 10-year-old, and that's a concern of mine.
We need proper legal representation to make honest evaluations, and we'll get to that next week. That's a promise to our viewers.
Look, until you brought this to my attention, I did not catch this thing. This is whirlwind for me.
24 hours old. It's very fresh.
I'm glad you brought it to my attention because this is something that I would have made a topic out of on this show today as a result of knowing about it. But now that we do know about it, you can be damn sure that we'll be talking about this next week because it has ramifications. And I hate it when police use kids against parents that are normal, everyday, loving human beings with normal families, trying to somehow twist this into something else.
It certainly seems like they were given an extra sword by the Attorney General this last opinion. But we will get some experts on there. And make sure listeners and viewers study the issue before we get our next broadcast out.
Okay, this liberal logic thing, real quickly.
It's liberallogic101.com. There's some stuff right up on the front page. I want to get into this in broader detail, I guess, later, because we've really kind of consumed the meat of the hour with these other topics. Not that any of them weren't worthy. Mm-hmm. But check it out on the front page of politicaltwistup.com.
It's your homework. It's your homework.
And
check
understand what these people are doing with reality. They're twisting reality by applying opinion to occasion and then twisting the question that they pose with the imagery that they put up.
And what they're basically saying, they're conservative folks saying, liberals always think this way, liberals always want to do that.
Well, I'll give you a quick, one really quick example. There's this, and it's one of the pictures that I've got up on the front page there. It poses a marijuana question, and it talks about, and this is how they twist things. It says that Liberal Logic 101 is that marijuana, and they got a picture of marijuana, it says, should be legal. And then right next to it, it says sugary drinks, underneath that, it says, should be regulated. And the fact is that they're not offering marijuana in mass consumption quality to kids that are in their hallway on their way to second hour.
And they're really talking a lot about New York State and the decision to ban giant-sized drinks.
Correct. And
but
then
the fact of the case is...
Wait, hold the thought. Right underneath it says, because just think of all the people who will be killed when drivers are impaired by sugary drinks. You see the argument they make? It's just not even a logical argument.
Very true.
Well,
so go ahead.
Here's the thing. Out of sugar or marijuana's better for you anyway. So, their argument's kind of a backfire if you're in the know.
I'm just saying. There are people out there that want to twist your view with things that are not factual. And all I ask you to do is when you run across these things and they seem to be bigger than life, go and check them out and make sure that what they're claiming is actually true, because it's clearly likely, in this case at least, not.
Speaking of a twisted view, how about LJ from Advanced Nutrients, huh?
Yes. Do we have LJ on the phone? I think we do have him on the phone. We have him on the Skype. Oh.
Uh-oh.
So he's here, but he's
LJ
not here.
has a very odd-sounding voice.
So very mechanical.
We do have some questions lined up for LJ. So
I know we had some callers that are already online right now, waiting for the Grow Expert. So I'm sure we'll get them back up.
No, we'll get LJ. He's calling it back up now. It's just about reconnecting.
Well, let's just remind people that there are lots of ways they can find out about things like the Attorney General's opinion or researching the Committee for a Safer Lansing or Decriminalize GR. Take a look at the CompassionChronicles.com. Take a look at the Political Twist Up Show's Facebook page. There are a lot of different resources available to you. MedicalMarijuana.org, which is a site run by the MMA. They also have a great resource section, too. Inform yourself and listen to shows like this and spread the word that you heard.
I would also go as far as to saying if they come across something that they feel is newsworthy that we haven't covered, they should email us.
Look, there are links right up on the front page at politicaltwistup.com where they can make those contacts and ask those questions. Be glad to have people on that help people in that field in particular. But any of these political questions, if you've got an issue with drivers' rights, if you've got an issue with what they're doing with the unions, with union busting, or if you support the union busting, I mean, this is what this program is about. It covers these hot button topics.
Well, the Cultivator is a print issue that you can rely on. There are a lot of different sources out there. In Michigan, we're very, very fortunate to have that.
So it looks like they're still trying to make the connection on the phone. We've got a kind of a strange way of connecting to our Ask the Gardener segment. We've actually got him on Skype, so you can see him via video, and perhaps he can do some demonstration. But then we've also got to have him in order to get him on the so you can hear him. It's kind of strange the way they got the computers connected together. We actually have to have him on the phone. So we can see him currently, but we can't hear him until we get him on the phone.
Well, of course, Advanced Nutrients is probably the most popular nutrient line, not only across the North American continent, but worldwide. It's really a fantastic product line. They have many different products that you can choose from. And LJ will be able to tell us about that because we've received his signal back again.
Hey, it sounds like we got him in the background. LJ, welcome to the Political Twist-Up Show.
Hey, man, so glad to be here. Good to see you or hear from you again, man. Had a good time with you guys in Canvas Cup.
Hey, we can see on we can see him on camera
nice.
there.
LJ and I and all of our crew here got together in Denver at the High Times Cannabis Cup, where he was quite a popular gentleman. I saw him on several different news programs being interviewed.
Well, really, people got to ask LJ a lot of questions about advanced nutrients. What's the most popular question you get asked as an expert gardener, LJ?
You know what? It's I get asked a lot of stuff because we have a lot of different products. You know what I mean? We have stuff that's really revolutionary and it attacks a lot of different parts of the grow cycle. So it's hard to narrow it down to that. Like we've got one product called Bud Blood that will shave a week generally off your flowering process. You can go from like 5-point-something flips a year up to like 6 flips a year. So I'll get asked about that, or which is your favorite base food, or how are your organics doing. A barrage of all of it, sir.
Well, we got a couple of questions for you coming in from our listening audience. Let's start with Alicia. Alicia, you're on the show with LJ from Advanced Nutrients, our Ask the Gardener segment.
How are you, Alicia?
Hi. Good. How are you?
Never had it so good.
So what's your question, Alicia?
Well, first I want to say hi to Ryan, Steve, and Rick. You guys are awesome. You do a great show. If I'm home, I watch every week.
Hey.
Thank you.
And you're welcome. And I'm a medical marijuana patient. I grow 12 plants. I use dirt, 1,000-watt bulbs. And I've heard a lot of people tell me that if I use a CO2 system, I can produce more bud.
Okay, so our questions about CO2, Alicia. Hey, Alicia, stand by. We're getting ready to go to break. Questions about CO2 to LJ. Coming back, it's the Multimedia Digital Network with the Political Twist-Up Show. The Political Twist-Up Show.
At Clio Cultivation, the things that really matter are the best customer service, lowest prices, and a friendlier atmosphere. We share knowledge that will increase your harvest and happiness. Recently, a grower reported double yields in 8 weeks by following our methods of the Garden Sage. We also guarantee the lowest prices on every product every day. When you are here, just smile. Bad days don't exist anymore. Now offering complete 1,000-watt systems for $179, 8-light T5s $189, 16-inch wall mount fans $33.95, Exhale CO2 bags $28, 8-inch Raptors $199, 1,000-watt ballast $89.95, 1,000-watt lamps start at $50, and Happy Frog and Ocean Forest lower than $13.95. Call for details at 810-686-GROW or visit 11394 North Saginaw Road. Weekdays 10 to 7, Saturday 10 to 5. At Clio Cultivation, we know to see it is to believe it.
The law offices of Targowski and Grow remind you to stand up for your rights. Always treat law enforcement with respect, but if you're detained or arrested, stand up for your rights by repeating, I respectfully invoke all of my legal and constitutional rights. I do not consent to any search or seizure. I want to remain silent, and I want to talk to my attorneys, John Targowski and Daniel Grow. Targowski and Grow have the education and experience you need to be successful in Michigan courts. Call Targowski and Grow toll-free, 800-957-1069. The law offices of Targowski and Grow, 800-957-1069.
Well, this formula is specifically to grow cannabis.
That's Ray Kogo for Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients.
Now, everybody knows that large buds and tight buds come from genetics, and then the amount of light you use. The other part is having the correct nutrients that the plant's going to use. Mine specifically to grow cannabis, so it's going to get everything that it needs.
Ray knows what you may not. Those nutrient companies you can get in most grow shops are not cannabis specific. That means they take the stuff out of the bloom that your plant needs in bloom. You can get Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients too. It's just 2 1-gallon jugs that make over 600 gallons of nutrients, all for less than $100. See the difference for yourself.
More trichomes, bigger buds, faster growth, and for less money.
Go to CANNABISformula.com or call Ray direct at 517-375-8998. That's 517-375-8998. Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients. Get everything you need at Hydrovision Indoor Gardening Centers. It's spring, and it's time you get to planting. And whether you're starting plants indoors for the outdoor season or just making your house more green, the technical experts at Hydrovision stores will help you with indoor design and supply so that your indoor gardening dreams always become reality. Mention my name, Steve Green, for a special discount. Hydrovision Indoor Gardening Centers in Howell, Trenton, Richmond, Benton, and Belleville, one near you, or check out myhydrovision.com. The Political Twist-Up radio show. So we're back in the studios in Royal Oak, Michigan.
Go Red Wings.
Go Red Wings. Hey, by the way, you a couple of wins yesterday for our Michigan teams. You can't complain about that.
That was a fantastic overtime win by the Red Wings last night to continue to keep their playoff hopes alive.
Moments left on the program. We are doing our Ask the Gardener segment. It's LJ from Advanced Nutrients. Alicia's with us on the phone. Had a question with regards to CO2 production of medical marijuana. Go ahead and fire it real quick again, Alicia, about the CO2 question.
Well, my question was, I've just had a lot of people tell me that it can produce more.
Oh, we lost LJ's. LJ's. He's like, I can see him on the phone. He's like, oh, keep asking. Did we lose Alicia too? It looks like we did. That's okay.
Alicia, are you still there?
Nope, we lost both of them, it looks like. I think he was trying to connect them together. It must have been a button faux pas. That's okay. Stand by. We'll get them back on. People have a lot
I'm on.
There we go. Right. So,
the question is about CO2 production and boosting production.
Because I don't know if we're going to get Alicia back now.
On an indoor grow.
No. And I heard the question, and that's a good one. Alicia, CO2 will absolutely enhance production. It will absolutely enhance yield. It raises the plant's sensitivity to light, therefore, making the light go farther, making the plant produce harder underneath those lights. There are a lot of considerations, though, as to setting it up.
Now, a lot of people want to know it's kind of expensive to do the CO2 production, to add the CO2 to the mix. And so people generally have the question, is it going to be worth the investment? And every time I've asked that question myself, the answer has always been yes. Is there ever been an answer to no?
Yeah. I mean, it's a 30% increase generally, if all the other factors are met. Remember that when you close your environment entirely, you have a lot more humidity in the room. And you have, you've got to take precautions in order to CO2. It's not just adding CO2 because let's say you're air cooling your room using fans to pull cold air into the room and exhaust the heated air out. You're going to launch the CO2 out of the room that way too. You're going to be expelling it all right out the side of the building, if you will. Right. So you've got to have a completely closed environment, air conditioning, and generally a dehumidifier depending on your area.
Well, you also have to make sure you're providing the plant all of the ingredients it needs to take advantage of the CO2 from proper nutrients and from proper supplements, just like Advanced specializes in.
Alicia, he just said that adding CO2, we got her back on the phone. He said that adding CO2 to your mix should increase your yield by as much as 30% if you do it right.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of other precautions as far as you need to control the atmosphere at that point. If you're air cooling your room, you have to close it off. A lot of guys will air cool, and then they'll have like a computer that will inject CO2 while the fans aren't running, and then, when the fans kick on, it'll automatically turn off the CO2 burner or tanks. But this is not very efficient because no telling when those fans are going to kick on, and CO2 is being exhausted regularly, and CO2 also costs a lot of heat to make. Generally, a burner needs to be mounted 18 inches from every surface for fear that it might spark up the walls.
You don't want to catch anything on fire until later.
Advanced Anhydro Innovations made a water-cooled CO2 burner that was incredible for this. Removes 90% of the heat. You get all the benefit of the CO2 with basically none of the heat.
The water-cooled CO2 burner, that's fantastic.
Alicia, did we answer your question?
Really
yep.
Did we get your question answered, Alicia?
Absolutely. That was wonderful, LJ. It was great talking to you, and that was a lot of help. I appreciate it. You guys have a great day.
Make sure you control your atmosphere, Alicia. You want to get split unit ACs are the best for what we're doing, the indoor growing. They're the most efficient. They're also one of the easiest to install. Aura makes one with pre-charged lines, so you don't have to have an HVAC gentleman into your house. You can just install it yourself.
Sweet.
But just remember that with CO2 comes an entirely closed atmosphere, which means that you've got to control it entirely on your own. Meaning
absolutely, that's no problem. I've had people tell me that I do a good job of that. So
thanks, Alicia, so much for your call.
And use the Advanced Nutrients.
Yes, absolutely. That always helps.
Well, give it a look. Thanks.
Right on. You have a great day, hon.
Another question on the.
You guys too.
Bye now. Another question from Eric. Eric in Flint. You're on with LJ from Advanced Nutrients. Ask the gardener.
Hey,
how are you, Eric?
Hey, good. Is using soil and hydroponics together? Is that kind of a new thing coming out now in the future?
I've seen guys doing some stuff like that, like soil-based systems that are kind of like ebb flow. They flood and drain soil. For me personally, I think it's really messy. I'd kind of lean towards one or the other. I'm having a lot of success with the Sunshine Pro Mix and Sunshine Mix number 4 type of thing. I find that they're really agreeable with our nutrients. Very aggressive growth. I've gotten up to 1 1/4 a light off 600s without CO2. So just a really real performer.
Right, I was kind of thinking the same thing too. That would be kind of messy, a lot of hassle there. What about LCD lights?
Yeah, the filtration is an issue with the water supply, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be clogging up all your plumbing lines. I mean, that leads to floods, and depending on the situation that you're in, floods lead to knocks on the door and cats out of the bag, and you know what I mean? So you want to be careful when you're doing hydroponics and residential situations and whatnot. Like, you probably want to take every precaution to not clog any lines, you know what I mean?
Stick with proven technology then, yes.
So get rid of the dirt.
Right, especially for a beginner probably too, right?
Absolutely.
Well, dirt's wonderful by itself. I mean, there's nothing more forgiving and or consistent than dirt, as well as the flavor and the smell enhancement are really exceptional. I mean, when you start to go into hydro, I feel that it's particularly like an OG Kush, you're going to lose something as far as the flavor and the smell, and it takes like a product, like a Nirvana is incredible for that. Like, it makes smells and aroma, just tremendous inside of the plant. But essentially when you're in hydro, it's almost like you want to add something to bring that back. Also in things like aeroponics or undercurrents, let's say, if you have something break, like a pump or something go wrong to where those plants are getting drowned or not getting enough water, you can lose that grow in as little as 12 hours. I've seen soil where the plant looked like it's just an inch from death. You throw a cup of water at it, and an hour later it's just, like right back, like nothing ever happened. So first time I saw it, I didn't actually try soil until I was like 3-4 years in, and I just stood there with my jaw dropped that they would actually come back from that.
Eric, are you doing?
I would use the arrow where you screw up and it's over. You know what I mean?
Are you doing
Eric? Amazing.
Eric, are you doing soil? Or are you doing hydroponic? Or are you actually trying to mix the two?
I've always done soil so far, but I've been thinking about going to hydroponic, and then I've recently seen someone discuss something about combining the two together, and someone tried to show me a fancy setup where you could do both together, and I was like, I don't know about that. It seems kind of messy.
Couple minutes left on the program, Eric. Did we get your question answered?
Yeah, and
okay.
What's your take on LCD lights? What's the
real quick, because we only got 2 minutes left. We'll get another couple calls we'd like to get through. So
LCDs, I don't think the technology is entirely there yet.
Okay.
I think they need a couple more years of development. Thank you.
For me, it's about brightness with those LCDs. They need to be brighter because you got to have them so close to the plant, and then you lose the footprint of the lights.
But that is some technology that will change quickly.
Hillary from Lansing, welcome to the Political Twist Up Show. You're on with LJ from Advanced Nutrients. It's Ask the Gardener.
Hey, how are you guys?
Great. How are you?
Wonderful.
Very good, thank you. Hey, I came in at the tail end of the conversation about the water-cooled CO2, and those, by the way, I just want to say those rock. I've seen them in action, and I've had the traditional, gas-burning, heat-producing CO2 generators that I just hardlined right into my gas line. And the water-cooled are amazing, and it made me feel really good that a woman was asking that question, so...
Fantastic.
Cool.
Did you have a quick question? We got seconds left. Really short seconds.
No,
you don't have to use a chiller to water cool those CO2 burners. You can actually do it drain to waste by installing a ball valve right before the CO2 burner, so you choke back the pressure just enough to ignite the thing, and then just let it drain to waste, and it'll tack on barely anything to your water bill.
Wow.
Thank
you.
Awesome.
Against that with a chiller would be extremely expensive, and a lot of chiller,
LJ,
a lot of pump required.
Thank you so much for coming on the program. We are up against the clock. We got to run.
Great segment.
See you next week on the Political Twist Up Show on the Multimedia Digital Network, politicaltwistup.com.
Goodbye.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, guys.
Multimedia